Vienna, Salzburg, Munich. Join me, Thomas, on a tour through the three very unique cities in the heart of Europe. So Vienna, Salzburg and Munich, those cities have characteristics which are defined by its past. All three cities looking into the future, and we are looking at the present. Some of you guys may know me from Autogefühl, the #1 car review channel here on YouTube. But today it's just about travel and about fun, about history, about modern trends. So in all of the three cities we're going to looking at classic architecture, modern architecture. We're going to experience a lot of interesting food. We're going to take you to very famous tourist sites, but also to not those famous tourist sites. So there will be a lot of information, practical, useful stuff, and a lot of fascination in there for you. Join us here on that tour. And for all fans of Autogefühl, I promise you there will be car content inside here also. I promise you all together, this one will be a very exciting trip. Let's go. So welcome to Vienna. We're going to take a look at some of the very famous sites, like behind me, but also at less famous sites. Modern architecture against classic architecture, also about food and other leisure stuff. Will be very interesting, I can promise you. Behind me, this one is one of the main sites in Vienna. It's the so-called Hofburg. It's the biggest castle in Austria and has been the residence for the Habsburgs, this ruler family, for over 600 years. So in the past, the rulers resided right here, and it was the main and the winter residence. Nowadays, it inherits the National Library, and also the current president sits here. And everywhere you look, what did the emperor prefer? Symmetry, you can see it right here. And of course, a lot of magnificent buildings. That's what the city is famous for. And talking about me as an automotive journalist, you know, when I see the horses here, first of all I think about, I'm not sure if they really like what they're doing, so I'm not really in favor of that. But interesting is also the wagons they carry behind them. And there's this expression of shooting brake for estate wagons in the automotive industry. And the interesting thing is that the term shooting brake was really as wagons were put behind very wild horses to break them. And later on, you know, there's wagons, for example, also weapons were transported. So there was the term derived shooting brake, and if you have an estate wagon nowadays, you also sometimes refer to it as shooting brake. And next to the Hofburg, there are two very important museums. Behind me, also behind the big monument, this is here the so-called Theresienplatz. The building you will see behind there is the Museum of Arts, and directly at the opposite direction you can find the Natural History Museum. At the moment, the current exhibit is about planets and stars. It doesn't always have to be the classical sites. You can also see classic architecture just right in the streets. Here, for example, close to the Rathaus, the City Hall, or Hôtel de Ville in French. I mean, look at it. This very bright stone, you can see it in both ways. The Rathaus, the City Hall is right over there, by the way, this direction. Especially when we see the sunshine here right now, going through the alleys. Always beautiful views just when you're walking through the streets. And this is also very typical for Austria, or also for my home country, for Germany. Even if there's nothing to regulate, regulate it. The second very famous castle is Schloss Schönbrunn. This one here, so a lot of people wondering what's really the difference, why do they have two big castles? This one was the summer residence, and of course, as a big emperor, you have to have a place for the winter and the summertime. Or wouldn't you as well? Well, you know how much tax money was wasted here, you can see it. But again, I think very beautiful colors, because you have these summer colors all painted, and therefore I also prefer this one here over the Hofburg, just from the outer appearance. A lot of scenes of the famous Sissy movies were also shot right here, and I think you can feel and see some of the glamour of the past time here at this magnificent place. And what is always great with Vienna, you find those public water stations all over the place. And you can just refresh yourself. A lot of stations we find there all over the city, and here, for example, the Schloss Schönbrunn is more southwestern of the city, so a long way, and we didn't have to carry any big water bottles with us. What are the best ways to get to Schloss Schönbrunn, because it's southwestern part of the city? You can take the bus 56, for example. You can take one of those hop-on, hop-off tourist buses, or you can take the U4, the subway or the underground line. That's actually the fastest way. And we got those Vienna cards here, for example. They are valid for 48 hours and they can drive all of the public transport. And it pays off if you also check out some of the other tourist attractions, because then you also get some discounts on them. I would say let's head north now to some very different places. We've been talking about past and present. This giant wheel behind me is from 1897, so over 100 years old. And this is here the Wiener Prater. And this special place of a lot of fun and enjoyment is open from March till October. And some cities, or maybe also where you live, they have it, at maybe 1 week or 2 weeks a year. And this one here is really permanent in the season, so in the basic summer season. And a lot of people are coming here always, and you can enter it free of charge. That's nice, just to stroll around. And then you pay by each attraction and maybe where you want to get a ride on. Or it's also possible to get a card for about 40 euros that you can ride all of the main attractions in one day. And here you can also feel like reliving the Austrian past. And what I think about my style right now here. And this all-new car is, no, I'm not doing a car review today, but this auto scooter here would probably be my choice for the attractions here. And who would have imagined that one of the sites in Vienna is also one of the universities? This one here is the campus WU. It's the Wirtschaftsuniversität. It stands for the Department of Economics. It has been founded in 1898, and all of the new buildings, you see them behind me, they are from 2013 in October. And it's a very exciting place here, because I also like to discover the architecture of the city, and not only the old one, but also modern architecture. And what I find quite interesting here is that you get a mix of materials. For example, we've seen wood on the outside of the buildings. We also see metal structures and a lot of glass, and totally different types and forms. Also with a nice area in between the areas just to rest right here. And it's a great place, of course, for the students to see something new, to have a creative environment. And also funny, it's very close to the Wiener Prater, so you can also, spend some leisure time there. And it is also close to the trade fair, as well as to the biggest stadium of Vienna. And one hint from me, directly at the Prater, at the train station, so you may, when you're getting hungry and hunting the next train, take a stop at the Falafelia, and here you can get some falafel wraps, really great, and also some salad with fresh hummus, for example. So this is a great stop. Also get some nice Arabian-style vegan food. By those numbers here you can see when the next train is coming, for example in 1 and the next one then in 6 minutes, and that's one of the characteristics of the Vienna subway. There's always a train coming, so it's a very good public infrastructure. So even me as a car enthusiast, I don't need to drive a car here. I can easily get along with the subways in every direction to the next sites. And for example, just was 50 minutes from the airport to the city center, and also to get to our hotel then it was also just some minutes. And here we'll get to the next site again with a pretty modern subway. Of course, a lot of people around here always, even weekdays. Let's get inside and drive with me to our next location. And now the Stephansplatz marks the heart of the city, signalized by the Stephansdom. And so this huge dome is of course very impressive, but you have to think about in the past times, those huge buildings by the church were mainly built to oppress people and to make them bow in front of the God. And this here really, you can also see it directly right here. This is where the city is very vibrant, where you can find all of the coffee culture and also people just walking through your camera. So a lot of Mozart looking guys strolling around here, selling tickets for example. And for what are those tickets here for the Vienna State Opera? Because Vienna is also the city of music, and with a famous event of course each year right here in the State Opera. And well, it's one of the many reasons why people come here in this city with about 1.8 million inhabitants and over 13.5 million tourists each year. That's close to Prague and even more than, for example, in Stockholm or Amsterdam. And this is also one of the reasons to visit Vienna, to enjoy the coffee specialties here. And well, sadly, most of those very nice and picturesque cafes here, summer outside of course, in the winter inside, they don't have too much stuff that is not made of, with milk or butter or eggs. And so in my case I tend to pick a hot chocolate with soy milk that you can also enjoy and just enjoy the evening here, especially in summer times. So most sunny days are really from May, June, July, August. The temperatures again are the highest in July, August and September. So it is actually the best time to go to Vienna, but of course also the one with the most tourists. And we are here at weekdays, it's Monday to the year, therefore it's even not that crowded, full of tourists. Will of course be even more crowded Saturdays and Sundays. And so I'd say enjoy your evening as well. Great stuff. And if the inner city is too much mainstream for you, this is also here one of the secrets maybe, or maybe is it not a secret anymore. Here if you get out the subway station Rossauer Ländle, it's a little bit outside, close to the Danube channel. Then you can see in the evening here in summer times there are a lot of different restaurants right here at the river or channel side, and you can even play some beach volleyball. And we're staying in one of 3 Meininger hotels here in Vienna, and this one here is called Downtown Franz. And this one here is, well, the biggest first of all of those 3, and here there's no, no standard clientele. There are a lot of people coming together here, and everything is kind of easygoing. People are very friendly and very open-minded, and you can of course meet a lot of people here as well. And I would say, let's get inside. So the thing about Meininger Hotel is it's not, this high-class luxury, a lot of money for a hotel room. It's more like you pay less, you explore the city, but you still get, a modern environment and everything you need, basically. And room rates here, for example, you can easily get a room for about 30 euros a night. And that's, of course, very cheap considering you're really in a big city. And some other special things here as well. This is here the public area with the receptions, for example. And also there's a public kitchen, so that's really unusual for a hotel room, so you can, for example, prepare your own food even to save some more money. And among the public areas there's also a kicker, so we call it a kicker in Germany and in Austria. And for example, you can have a match with the cameraman or with whoever you meet here. And if you arrive very early and wait for your room to get ready, you can also enjoy a match of pool. And in the shadows of Emperor Franz, I'll head my way to my room. And by the way, the room number 313, you remember the car's number plate of Donald Duck's cars, and in all of the Pixar Disney movies, 313, you always find that number. There's a history behind it. Maybe some of you know, it's a very interesting one. Well, let's get inside. And it's a pretty bright room. It's the first time I see it here as well. You see on the walls, they don't just use a plain white here. It's dark blue to give, a lot of sky atmosphere, and also panoramic view on one of the famous gardens of Vienna. And the style is, I would describe it, of kind of IKEA style. So very modern but simplistic, like a Scandinavian design here, also with a double bed. However, this can also be sold as a single room, no problem. And you got a flat screen TV as well for basic entertainment, but most of the time you will spend in the city anyway. And here is stuff for your clothes here as well. So basically here everything you need to stay for 1, 2, 3, 4 nights in the city and have a comfortable stay. And well, the most important thing to me is actually also when you get in a rather cheap hotel that you have a very good bathroom, and a modern one. You can see it here. It's basically everything new. So, and when in the bathroom everything is all right and everything looks clean and modern and new, then I can also feel comfortable at all. And for example, take a shower maybe after a very stressful day in the city, after a lot of experiences, then you can really relax. And this is a good tip to save some more money, because in Austria and also in Germany you can always drink from the tap. Cheers. And the good thing is you can just get a code here, and then you have free Wi-Fi all over the hotel, in your room and also in the public areas. And the speed is really okay for checking emails, browsing, checking Facebook and stuff. And that's of course one of the major things, the most important things, especially for younger people, that the Wi-Fi is working, and it does. And the morning starts here with a continental breakfast. There isn't too much choice, I also keep it rather simple, and you've also seen it here. Really a lot of people here. It's kind of the only time of the day where you meet a lot of people at the same time here, because they're all getting ready for the next day in the city. Well, for example, here I got some vegetables here now, also some fruits, and also something for the road as well, some bread and rolls, and some cereals as well. And the only thing that is missing for the cereals is some plant-based drink alternatives to real cow's milk. That is really missing, and they should include it because they are also in general a progressive hotel, so I have to refer to juice this morning. And another day for example, a very sunny day in Vienna, you can also spend close to the river Danube or the Donau for the original pronunciation. And you might wonder, why is the river Danube quite far away from the city? Because in most of the big cities that were founded at the river, thinking of Cologne, for example, Rome as well, London, Paris, it's always the river going right through the city. And here it's a little bit different because the connection between the people of Vienna and its river has been quite ambivalent. So this river here, as it flew in the original form, was a little bit closer to the city, and there were, for example, very devastating floods or also ice in the winter, and the greater room of Vienna was rather an aquatic landscape. And so they decided to, okay, let's keep the nature a little bit outside, but we still want to have a channel that we can access the river as a waterway. And as it is right here now, it was done in 1862. The emperor said, okay, we have to get rid of the floods and stuff, and we keep the channel, to get some stuff inside the city. But here, getting it rather outside the city. And at the moment, I'm here on the Danube Island, so I'm kind of between two big streams that are flowing from the river Danube. And behind me, this is also very interesting because this is a very modern part of the city. And so you can say that nowadays, again, the river is flowing through the city. This one here, the biggest tower, is called DC1 Tower, for Donau City Tower. And it's about 220 meters high, 240 if you go to the very, very top with the antenna. And the white buildings right next to it, those ones are inheriting the UN offices, for example, and therefore this part is also called UN City. And the great thing here is you can not only cross the river with the subway, with the U1, you can also just go by foot right here and explore both of the two shores. And maybe they are really shores because you can also sit down here in the evening and enjoy a drink at the artificial beaches. So also a place to enjoy, definitely. Welcome to Salzburg. We will give you an exclusive insight on a lot of sides of the cities and also some secret hints and tips where to go to. It will be very exciting here in this city as well with us, and this is one of my favorite spots. Why? Well, first of all, behind us directly is the Castle Mirabell. This is the first one, and if you just look through in the axle, you can also see the dome. This marks the inner city of the old town. And then right up on a hill, there's also the Castle Hohensalzburg. And so you have all of the main sites together in one site, in one axle. It's a very beautiful spot. And across the Mirabell Castle is the Church of St. Andrä. And what does this have to do with the so-called Young Salzburg? Well, around this church there have been popping up a lot of different shops and bars and restaurants with, for example, organic food. And there is the place where also more and more young people meet, and we're going to explore that one for you as well, of course. In one of my favorite places here in the Andrä-Viertel, this special quarter, which is really trendy right now and a lot of young people are attracted to it, is here. It's called Meininger, and the chain is also available in some other cities. And here you can pick, for example, fresh veggie curries, different choices you have there, or also salad choices. And it's really fresh and great food, and also sustainable. That's the most important to me. And one of the famous suites you should not miss when visiting Salzburg are the original Mozart Kugel. And this special ball is actually also pure vegan because it consists of dark chocolate, marzipan, nougat and pistachio, and you can even just get one, you see, for 120, and then you can get one of those special balls. And of course the most interesting thing is how they really look from the outside, like this. But the true secret and the original recipe is inside. Really delicious. And here in Salzburg, Tesla is making a regional tour here at the moment, presenting some of the models, and there's some car content for my car enthusiasts from Autogefühl. And if you want to see more about this car, then also check the Autogefühl channel. We will link the video below. Right through the city there's the river Salzach, and this one is dividing the city we've seen, for example, with Castle Mirabell, and the old town with the castle and the dome. And you can also take one of those boats here to take a stroll, a nice tour on the river, especially on a sunny day. And you can see already in the background this pre-alpine panorama, and that is of course one thing you can also see from the boat. And this is the so-called Getreidegasse 1. This is a street, one of the most famous streets in the old town, and here you can do a lot of shopping. So mainly fashion and stuff, and also, of course, again, some Mozart Kugeln. And this is the house where Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart was born in 1756, and it was one of the very early superstars that were, well, that ever existed. Before that, there was hardly someone who was that famous all over the world, but he was because of his virtuous music. You have seen the so-called Kollegienkirche on our shots, where there's a market on the bottom of it and all of the beautiful houses around it. And well, those very beautiful old houses from medieval times, they didn't look that pretty as always. Today they're refurbished and attract so many tourists. This is a small city of just 150,000 inhabitants, but over 2.6 million tourists each year. This one here is also one of the main attractions. This one here is the Dome of Salzburg. And again, some horses. Watch out for them, always. I'm always not a fan, you know, of using horses in such a way. I think they should run around freely. But back to the dome here. This is one of the very early Baroque buildings. We see it here, and definitely one of the most famous sacral buildings in this region here. And you might wonder why so many fancy dressed people, also, let's say, rather elderly people, run around here like this. Well, it's Salzburger Festspiele time, means those music festivals, festival of classic music also worldwide renowned. And of course, also those people are here, and that's also one of the reasons why the rates for the hotels can be pretty expensive. And right above the city we see the Festung Hohensalzburg. This is a castle from the medieval times, 11th century, and it was one of the biggest castles in all over Europe at that time. And here, at a height of 540 meters, you can see all of the city if you're up there. You can go up or down again with this mountain rail. This is one possibility, or walk all the way up, then 700 meters, but of course going up, and then landing here at about 540 meters. They have a magnificent view on the dome, the whole dome quarter with the surrounding churches and clock towers. Really impressive. The old town here in front, of the river Salzach and the river itself. Especially great. Look at the light here in this evening light. And then also the Castle Mirabell. You can see there with the green top in the background. That was where we started our journey today here in Salzburg. And by the way, if you want to have it really easy again, this Salzburg card here, you know, there are always those tourist cards available, and then you have again the public transport included, but also here going up with the rail, and also you can go on a boat tour with that one. And we're taking a look at the Meininger Hotel in Salzburg. It is not that close to the city center, but Salzburg is not a city of long travel and long ways, so everything is kind of close. And just taking the bus line number 2, and then you're already here in about 15 minutes, and you can basically still even walk towards the city center when it's a nice day like this one. So let's get inside. Check out that one here. So what is good about the surrounding, that you have a lot of shops nearby that you can, you know, get some food pretty cheap, and that's no problem to get ready for your city trips. This is here the reception area, so in case you have anything you need, also a small bar. And tomorrow morning we'll also have the breakfast right over there, and you will join us there, of course, as well. And in the Meininger hotels, you always have a guest kitchen. And why is that? Well, it's not only hotel rooms, but also some hostel rooms. Then, of course, especially people appreciate the possibility to do their own stuff here. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the hotel room here in the Meininger Hotel in Salzburg. And this is how the room would look at night. And I can already show you the bathroom. That's always very important to me. Again, a very modern bathroom. Everything quite fresh, quite new, and everything just what you need. And I have a big surprise for you, because even more special and only at night is the room. This is here the 5th floor, and you get a beautiful view here on the surrounding mountains. And then also the room itself looks really bright. You see, this is in Germany we would call that Erdbeerkörbchen design, and that is, you know, because you know, some basket where you carry strawberries, they always look like that. It's kind of this picnic blanket design, so a very unique style here. And again, with the wood elements, everything kept rather simple in a, well, on the one hand Scandinavian style, but on the other hand here in Salzburg also with the matching colors with the red, also a little bit joyful then. And I would say, let's get outside. And here on the roof terrace, those just a few rooms here in the 5th floor, they have this special balcony right here, and you can either, you know, sit down here and, you know, relax, but also then when you stand up, you have to stand up for that. Then you have the great view here again, and very beautiful. And there you can see this alpine style, so you know that Salzburg is just at the verge of the Northern Alps. And also after a day in the city, you can then sit down, maybe have a glass of wine here also in the hotel room, and enjoy maybe your favorite magazine here. Got the Time magazine here, so I'll learn something political then. And even if you don't have a special room with a own balcony, you can also enjoy the public roof terrace in the 5th floor. So especially on a sunny day like today, you can, you know, get some color or whatever, or enjoy some time with your friends here. And you can always get up here. It's just closed at night. And even in the elevator, you can look outside. And in the evening, you can either go search a favorite bar at the riverside, at the Gisela Kai. That's one possibility. But inside the city, it's still a little bit hotter then, because everything was warmed up by the sun during the day. And here we've crossed the river again, back up, and you can see There are a lot of bars and nice restaurants to discover. They're not really that crowded all in one place. There's always some space in between, and so you can also find your special spot for the evening. And our choice for tonight is so-called organic pizza, and well, the name of the restaurant also says something about the food, and indeed those pizzas are all organic, and you can also get vegan cheese.
Okay guys, here we have vegan pizza.
What do you think?
Wheat.
And even with you know, the dough is made from spelt, so it's not the classic one, but a spelt dough. Really great stuff. Now Eurolines has booked a bus for us. We'll take this bus here to go from Salzburg to Munich for our next stop. It's very exciting as well, I can promise you. Welcome everyone to Munich. This film part here, we will show you what you can experience in Munich from the classic side, but we'll also show you some trendy areas where you see the modern Munich as well. And of course we will also show you a hotel where you can stay at reasonable rates still. And we're starting right here at the urban center of Munich. This is the so-called Marienplatz, and the Marienplatz is famous because, well, you see already how many people are here. This is really the heart of Munich. We will also soon see the Frauenkirche, which is close by here. This above here, this is the town hall. And this very place here goes back to the 12th century. For a lot of decades, even centuries, this has been used as a marketplace. This is somewhere else now, we will show you quite soon. Later on, there were also cars running around here, but in 1972, the municipality decided, okay, let's keep it for the pedestrians again, and that really revived this place to make it so vibrant as it is today. Munich is the third largest city in Germany, population-wise 1.5 million, but over 10 million tourists each year visit the city. One of the reasons is the Frauenkirche, or also Women's Church directly translated, or also Dom zu unserer lieben Frau. That would be the full name. And you see it at the moment, it's being renovated because it should be remaining that beautiful as it is right now. It's already really centuries old, as most of the other buildings, 15th century. And here you can, when you see up, not quite close, 100 meters, are both towers high, this huge clock. And this is also the reason why Donald Trump would not be happy in the city of Munich investing here, because that everyone can still see the view even from a far distance. It's not allowed to build any new buildings that are higher than 100 meters here in the close surrounding. The majority of the tourists are domestic tourists, but there's one very big tourist group from across the Atlantic. Those ones are the Americans, and they favor the Hofbräuhaus. This is kind of number one, the most famous destination to enjoy beer here, original in Germany, in Bavaria. Beer, also one thing the country is very famous for, of course. And another unique part of the city is the so-called Viktualienmarkt, the Viktualienmarkt, and it is indeed a market. Nowadays in the evening times there's not so much happening anymore, but you can see one specialty of this place, because since 1807 there has been a market every day, except for Sundays and public holidays, and therefore those houses here, those stands, evolved, so you don't only have moving market stands, you also have fixed areas where also things are getting sold. Even in the evening you can get, for example, some bread still here in one of the shops nearby. And then at daytime, of course, a lot of fresh fruit and vegetables and a lot of more. The character of a city is always also defined by its gardens and the combined quality of life. And this year is the so-called English Garden in Munich, and it is a very special place because in 1789 it was one of the first gardens that were open to the public, because first of all just the Royal Society, they started having those magnificent gardens, and they weren't really open to public. This one was then from the beginning on. And even today, it's one of the biggest gardens of the world with 375 hectares of size. Really impressive. At the southern entry point of this garden, however, this here has nothing to do with being quiet and relaxation. This one here is about action. This is a so-called Eisbach. It flies directly through the garden and it comes out of under the bridge with a lot of pressure, and therefore you don't have to live in California to enjoy surfing. You can even do it in the heart of Munich. Way smaller, but also very beautiful, and rather in this royal style, is another garden that also reminds us with the name of its true origin. This is the so-called Hofgarten, so this was really belonging to the royal court then as well. Well, what didn't? But here you see the symmetry and also the planning that are still done today. There's a central place here as well, and surrounded by a lot of another magnificent buildings, and the transition also to one of the biggest avenues in Munich. The transition from the Ludwigstraße over to the Odeonsplatz, this is one of the big magnificent avenues here in Munich, and you can see with those very beautiful classic old buildings, this is still the classic Munich. There's also right here the entry to the Hofgarten. This is a little bit northern of the central part of the city, and we're going a little bit up north. Because a little bit more up north there's a so-called Maxvorstadt quarter, and this is without doubt one of the hip or trendy quarters of Munich. There's always a question, you know, and discussion which is the most hippest, most trendy quarter overall. There's the Glockenbach-Viertel, the Gärtner-Viertel, or also Maxvorstadt here. The West quarter is also up and coming right now, but this one here, Maxvorstadt, undoubtedly with a lot of different variations in style. You can see a lot of different shops which are very interesting, for example for home decoration, for art, so a lot of galleries here, design for inside and outside, and a lot of great forms and ways to satisfy your needs in drinks and food. For example, also very nice cafes where you can also sit outside with a small place, and this one here is called Katzentempel Cafe, which means Temple of Cats. Let's find out why. see it right here, because here in this cafe they have 6 cats, and well, they can be hugged if they want to, but you always have to pay attention. They also, you know, want to sleep at some point, and for example, when the tail is moving with the cat, that's not a good sign. With dogs, it's a good sign, but with cats, it's a bad sign. She or he, not sure that, I think it's a he, does not want to be disturbed right now. But of course, you also maybe don't want to disturb while eating your food, and of course, really beloved by kids to come here, because then they, from time to time, can also hug the cats. And you know, that's also part of the cafe. Some would maybe say, oh, you know, I don't want cats together with my food, but people like me, who are also having cats on our own, they really love to see them everywhere around, even in a restaurant. So cute. And this is the Allianz Arena, home to Bayern Munich, one of the biggest football clubs in the world, and also home to the second Bundesliga club, 1860 Munich. And a special thing about this arena, at the moment it's white, but at night they can change colors. For example, when Bayern Munich is playing, they change it to red, and when 1860 Munich is playing, they change it to blue. This arena was opened in 2005, and the maximum capacity is 75,000 people. Before those two clubs were playing this arena, and it's quite unique in the German Bundesliga or first and second Bundesliga that two of the professional teams play together in one arena. Before that one, they were both playing in the Olympic Stadium. And this is the former playing site of both of the big soccer clubs, the Olympic Stadium. And it has a rich history, because for the Olympic Games in 1972 it was originally built together with the park here around, and all of the buildings, they have this same kind of structure that looks like flying glass, and at that time it was really a groundbreaking architectural story. Also, you can go up the huge tower here in the Olympic Park and just take it for a later time, relax in the park. It's free of charge, the entry. Just if you want to go into the stadium, you pay, I think it was about €2. But all over the park, a lot of people are gathering, also during the week, especially in the evening and sunny days. Just relax on those hills here, take some free time at the lakes. And also the lakes has been used, for example, for numbers of events. There was a very spectacular event from the Red Bull X Fighters here, for example, once. And overall, this one here is a true success story, while other Olympic areas and parks nowadays, you know, there's nothing much happening there. A lot of billions of dollars are spent, and then everything is kind of oversized and forgotten. A big problem in Essence, for example. But here, this area has been used all the time after the Olympic Games as well. 1974, the World Cup, for example, which Germany gladly won right here in Munich against the Netherlands, 2-1. Was a great game as well. But also in the modern times, and overall, it's incredible figures. Over 12,000 events have been held here, with over 200 million visitors. Munich, or München in its original German name, It's also about BMW, or BMW, as in the German original pronunciation. And I love modern architecture as well, as a contrast to the very much classical sites we have seen. And modern architecture and BMW can be combined right here, because in 2007 the BMW World opened, or they also call it worldwide the BMW Welt. And here it's something kind of a modern exhibition. They present their brands, BMW, Mini, Rolls-Royce, and also the motorcycles, for example. And also customers take deliveries here, and sometimes they come from all over the world to take their ordered BMW here right next to the headquarters. And it's a really impressive building, close around to the Olympiapark and also just across the BMW headquarters in the BMW Museum. And so it really forms a very unique landmark, and we are standing here directly on the bridge between the BMW World and the BMW headquarters at the moment. And you wouldn't maybe realize, because Germany also has so much classic sites, but with over 3 million visitors each year, this one here is one of Germany's top visited sites. And across the bridge there's the BMW Museum. First of all, the lower building, about 600,000 visitors each year, not that much than the BMW World, but again one of the most visited museums overall in Germany, built in 1973. Over 100 exhibits has been taking place there so far. And you might wonder about the form there. You see more about that, for example, on the inside, which is also very interesting. And even if you look at it from above, that's really special, because then you realize what form, because on the top one, on the kind of on the roof, you can again see the BMW logo. And finally, the third BMW building is the famous four-cylinder. And there we also have a connection to Vienna, because this building was designed by the Vienna professor of architecture Karl Schwanzer. And we're staying in the Meininger Hotel in Munich, and what is very important, especially to Oktoberfest times in October, this hotel is also very close to the Theresienwiese. This is the place where the Oktoberfest is happening. But also for other occasions, it's not too far away from the next train station, therefore you can also be quite fast to the city center. Let's get inside. And as you may be used from other mining hotels, next to the reception area there's also a game room with different games, as for darts, for example, and you can also use the pool sticks here right now, or more like a football fan, the kicker, of course. So you can enjoy some leisure time with your friends if you maybe have an hour in the evening. The reception area also serves as a small bar. You can get some snacks and drinks. And let's go inside. This is the room. A simple Scandinavian style, so I would describe it. And if you compare it, for example, to the Meininger Hotel in Salzburg, this was this red picnic napkin style, here in the blue style for a double room in this case. The shades are closed here at the moment, but you can also look outside, and I think the view is quite unique, because you can look at those old factory buildings, brick style. So this has also something scenic, something alternative when you look outside. And we're still close to the train station, of course. And then just a look at the pretty simple bathroom. Well, there's a new basin at least, but nothing special. And you can also enjoy a small breakfast right up the roof terrace, because the room where the breakfast is usually taken inside when it's cold is usually also quite crowded, as the hotel is usually also very well booked. But here, summer times, you can also enjoy the roof terrace already about just 7 o'clock in the morning, and already we got some sunshine here on. And you could also use this roof terrace here during the day. and at the very top of the Olympic Park. It's probably the place to be at the great summer evening here in Munich to enjoy the sunset with a very warm light, with a great overview of the Olympic Park and also, for example, the BMW buildings, and you see some silhouettes of the city then. Thank you very much for following us here in Munich. It's been very interesting together with you. We've seen a lot of famous sites, but also some secret hints. And I would like to hear your feedback, because we can exchange in the comments where you maybe go to in Munich, what are you planning, or where have you already been to. Really looking forward to your feedback there as well. And I would also like to thank you for following us to all of the other cities we've shown you. So altogether, it's been a great trip here through the heart of Europe. 3 cities that have always something in common, but are so unique in its own characters and where they are heading to. And we've seen a lot of great historic architecture, but also very interesting modern buildings, as well as new trends in the hip quarters of each of the cities. I hope you really enjoyed this trip. It's been very exhausting for us, but also very interesting. And of course, we did this all for you, so I really hope you appreciate it. And I hope you'll also join us next time.